You think you know their love story? Think again. Because what really went down between Gwen Stefani and Blake Shelton is way messier, way more real, and honestly, way more interesting than anything you've seen on your TV screen. Buckle up, because this isn't your typical celebrity romance. This is about two people who found each other in the wreckage of heartbreak, built something beautiful under the spotlight, and then watched it crack under pressure nobody saw coming. Picture this. 2015, The Voice set, cameras rolling. Gwen Stefani walks in, pop royalty, fresh off a painful divorce, trying to piece her life back together. And there's Blake Shelton, Oklahoma's golden country boy, nursing his own wounds from a very public split. Two completely different worlds colliding at exactly the right moment. Or was it the wrong moment? Here's the kicker. Gwen didn't even know who Blake was before joining the show. I mean, come on, that's actually adorable. She's this California pop goddess and he's country music royalty, and she had zero clue. But that ignorance, that became part of their magic. Their chemistry wasn't manufactured for ratings. It was raw, genuine, the kind of connection that made even the cynics believe in love again. They laughed together, they healed together, and America absolutely ate it up. The pop queen and the country king became the fairy tale everyone needed. Blake later confessed that Gwen kept him from hitting rock bottom, like she literally saved him during his darkest hours. And Gwen? She said Blake saved her life after her divorce. Mutual rescue. Beautiful, right? That's what we all thought. But here's where it gets interesting. Because while Instagram showed us ranch selfies and adorable duets, behind those curated posts, something was shifting. Fans with eagle eyes started noticing things. Gwen stopped liking some of Blake's photos. Weird, right? Then Blake missed one of her Vegas shows, something he'd never done before. Small cracks, barely visible, but they were there. And in Hollywood, small cracks have a nasty habit of becoming earthquakes. See, what nobody talks about is how exhausting it must be to be the perfect couple. Every photo, every appearance, every smile has to sell the dream. TV producers loved them. Magazines loved them. Their relationship became a brand, a marketable love story that kept ratings high and headlines buzzing. But brands need maintenance, and sometimes the people inside the brand just want to be people. Then came the Voice incident. Now, this is where things got spicy. During one rehearsal, witnesses say things got heated between them. Not the cute, flirty kind of heated, the uncomfortable kind. They reportedly had a disagreement over creative direction that escalated into a full-blown argument right there on set. Crew members were stunned. Filming actually paused so they could cool down. Nobody knew exactly what was said, but one insider described it as two people speaking completely different languages. And honestly, that makes sense, because Gwen is all about evolution, reinvention, pushing boundaries. She's a visionary who never stops creating, never stops moving forward. Blake, he's about roots, stability, the quiet peace of ranch life. He found success being authentically himself, and he wasn't about to change that. What once made them balance each other was now pulling them apart. She wanted movement. He wanted stillness. She thrived in LA's creative chaos. He needed Oklahoma's wide-open silence. Friends noticed them drifting. Gwen spent more time in California, drowning herself in music projects and design work. Blake stayed home more, saying he was tired of the noise. They weren't fighting constantly. It was quieter than that, more dangerous. They were just existing in parallel lives that rarely intersected anymore. But to the world, still perfect. Still smiling on red carpets, still posting those carefully timed couple photos. The performance continued even as the connection faded. Now, here's where everything explodes. One quiet night at their Oklahoma ranch, what was supposed to be a peaceful reunion turned into the night that changed everything. Blake had just finished some shows, Gwen was coming back from late studio sessions, and they were finally going to reconnect away from all the madness. But Gwen discovered a message on Blake's phone. from a female collaborator. Now, reports say it wasn't romantic, but it was personal, friendly, maybe a little too comfortable for someone already feeling the distance growing between them. After months of tension, that message was the match that lit the fuse. When she confronted him, what started as a conversation became an argument neither could walk away from. Neighbors, in rural Oklahoma mind you, reported hearing raised voices cutting through the night. From a couple known for laughter and joy, this was shocking. People close to them said it was raw, emotional, the kind of fight where years of unspoken frustration finally found words. By morning, Blake was gone. Not just gone from the ranch, gone to the hospital. His team called it stress-related exhaustion and dehydration, but insiders painted a different picture. A man completely drained, defeated, carrying emotional weight that finally crushed him. When that news broke, the internet lost its mind. The couple that symbolized second chances suddenly looked fragile and very, very human. And here's where Gwen's silence became deafening. While Blake was in the hospital, where was Gwen? At a fashion event in Los Angeles, smiling for cameras, looking absolutely radiant. The optics were not great. Social media erupted. Thousands of fans were tagging her, demanding answers. Where is Gwen? Became the question nobody could ignore. The contrast between her red carpet appearance and his hospital bed fueled absolute outrage. Hashtags exploded. Comment sections turned into war zones. The woman who'd been celebrated for resilience was now being painted as cold, calculating, selfish. But those who actually knew her said she was falling apart privately. She hadn't slept in days, was barely holding herself together, struggling under pressure nobody outside could understand. Yet the internet doesn't pause for empathy. Every hour she stayed silent became another headline. Every smile became another accusation. America's favorite love story had become America's favorite controversy. Then came the voice memo. Oh boy, the voice memo. A 92-second recording allegedly from Blake to Gwen leaked online and spread like wildfire. Millions of plays and hours, and it wasn't angry or dramatic. It was heartbreaking. Blake's voice, tired and fragile, reportedly saying, "I don't even know how we got here. You were my peace, and now you're my pain. I'm not angry, I'm just empty. Maybe I was the one who needed saving all along." Let that sink in. The man everyone saw as the strong, grounded one was revealing vulnerability nobody expected. This wasn't the Blake Shelton who cracked jokes on TV. This was someone genuinely lost, confused, emotionally exhausted. The clip went viral across every platform. Was it a breakup? A cry for help? A reflection of months of private pain? Nobody knew, and through it all, Gwen said absolutely nothing. That silence became the loudest response of all. But then something shifted. Late one night, Gwen made a decision. No security, no cameras, no publicist. Just her, a hoodie, and a private flight to Oklahoma. She entered Tulsa Medical Center through a side entrance, escorted by a single staff member who kept her visit completely off the books. A nurse who later spoke anonymously said Gwen was trembling but determined when she stepped into Blake's room. The man who once filled arenas lay there pale and tired. Gwen stood frozen for several seconds before whispering, "I never meant to hurt you." For a long time, neither spoke. No cameras, no headlines, no performance. Just two people stripped of everything except truth. Finally, Blake reached across the bed and took her hand. That simple gesture said what words couldn't. Forgiveness wasn't far, but healing would take time. What came out later revealed something even deeper than jealousy or infidelity. The real issue? Control. Gwen had built her career on precision, every detail curated, every move intentional. Perfection wasn't vanity to her, it was survival. But Blake's appeal had always been simplicity, authenticity. Friends said Gwen encouraged him to evolve, to expand beyond country music's borders, to reinvent himself. She believed it would keep them both relevant. But to Blake, that suggestion felt like rejection of who he truly was. During one charged argument, Gwen reportedly told him, "You're holding both of us back." She didn't mean it as an attack, but that's how it landed. Blake withdrew after that, spending long days at the ranch, disconnected from everything. Meanwhile, Gwen started therapy, confronting how her need for control and fear of imperfection had quietly reshaped her relationship. It was a painful awakening. Fame had made her a perfectionist, but it had also made love harder to hold. A turning point came when the pastor who'd officiated their wedding visited Blake in the hospital. Not for cameras or publicity, just to check on a friend. They had a long conversation, and the pastor asked one simple question: "Can you forgive her?" Blake looked down, his voice breaking slightly, and said, "I already did, but I can't forget it." That moment marked a shift, from anger to acceptance, from hurt to healing. Forgiveness arrived quietly, not with grand announcements, but with an exhausted man admitting love still lingered through disappointment. What followed wasn't dramatic reconciliation or scripted photo ops. It was small gestures, late-night texts, phone calls where they actually listened instead of defended. They both started therapy separately, learning how fame and pressure had shaped their choices. The conversations were emotional, filled with apologies, shared memories, and quiet laughter that hadn't existed for months. There was no instant fix, but there was effort, a willingness to understand rather than to win. Here's what makes their story so compelling. It stopped being a fairy tale and became something more human. A reminder that even love under a spotlight can bend without breaking. That two people from different worlds can hurt each other deeply and still find their way back, not to perfection, but to something real. So before you go, I need you to do something for me. If this story hit different, if you're realizing there's always more beneath the surface, smash that like button and subscribe, because we're just getting started with these untold Hollywood stories. Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. Seriously, we've got viewers from every corner of the planet, and it absolutely blows my mind that we're all here together, diving into these real moments behind the headlines. Your support keeps this channel going, and trust me, the next story we're covering, even wilder than this one. You won't want to miss it.